Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the American Sports Connection. I'm your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. Now, before I bring my special guest in for this evening, don't forget to check out our social media stuff: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at ASC Pods. Now, my special guest for tonight, you might know him from his podcast, the Spotlight series, if I can talk. You might know him from commentary over at ICW New York. Uh, Welcome everyone. The Struggles, otherwise known as Ryan. How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you for having me on. I know that we've been trying to do this for a while. We finally got around to it, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming on. I actually wanted to start by talking about some non-wrestling stuff because
Sure.
I had commented on Lauderdale's post about Jordan.
Oh boy. Okay.
And what did you think of the Last Dance?
If anybody is familiar with me, I am a tremendously huge Michael Jordan fan. Despite growing up in New York with a family full of Knicks fans, I somehow am surrounded by Jordan memorabilia, sneakers to no end. My wife did not know what she was getting herself into when it came to the sneaker situation. So I'm a crazy, crazy Jordan fan. I enjoyed The Last Dance very, very much. You get to see your idol in a different light. I always knew he wasn't perfect. I always knew he wasn't this like superhero, this like in America, this perfect personality, perfect human being. I knew that he was way more complex than that. I knew that he was aggressive and definitely had some qualities that people might see as mean or, just troubling, but he's not a perfect person, but he's to me the greatest basketball player to ever step on a court.
Oh God, I agree. It's just, I guess, because we were so young when we saw him do his thing. Like that, you can watch it back all these years later and appreciate it more.
It's true though. It's just he achieved so much quickly, and I'm not a LeBron guy by any means. He's definitely a there's triggers for me that will get me to rant and get crazy. LeBron James, Superman, and Will Osprey will get me get fired up and start dropping some f bombs and just going crazy. But I understand that LeBron is a tremendous athlete, probably the most God given amazing athlete ever. They don't just make them 6'8", 275. They don't. They not everybody's built like that. Jordan was like 6'6", 215. It's a different type of animal, And but I look at LeBron and he achieved stuff very, very quickly. But Mike did the same in just a different way. And it's exciting to see that all packaged together in such a well done manner in the Last Dance. It was just paced out perfectly. They covered everything. People thought it was going to be an MJ fluff piece, which I don't think it was. I don't think they really stroked his ego. A lot of it that you might call ego stroking is just fact. He's a winner, but they did shine the light on some of the darker sides of Michael Jordan, and I thought it was great. I really fucking loved it.
I had read something probably in the last week that said they cut about half of that footage.
Oh wow, interesting.
So, cause yeah, and I was like, I'd really like to. I hope they do, where the stuff that they cut out that you like will be able to watch it.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, like an uncut version, or like behind the scenes, or something like that, or extras, because they're gonna end up like packaging that into like a full set, like something to that effect, where you're gonna end up being able to own The Last Dance on Blu-ray and 4K or some shit like that, and they'll package it up, and you'll get all these extras. whatnot.
Dude, that sounds pretty cool. I know they had I can't remember. It was one. It might have been Tuesday, or they had a like a special after the Last Dance or something on ESPN. I think.
Yeah, yeah. It was basically like a reactionary kind of thing where they had guests who all just watched it and then they kind of shared their thoughts and additional stories and stuff like that.
Well, when I saw Stephen A. Smith was hosting it, I changed it.
I can't stand. I have a funny Stephen A. Smith story.
Go ahead.
So, growing up, I was super fortunate. My uncle had season tickets for the Knicks. Even though I'm not a Knicks fan, I am now. But when I was growing up, I was not. I was a big Bulls fan. Um, loved Jordan, obviously. Then once I came to my senses as a New Yorker, I became a Knicks fan, which is a sad, sad state of. But I used to go to a bunch of Knicks games, and it was awesome. And we had my uncle's seats were right by the media section, so all the guys with their laptops typing up reviews and all this stuff, and I was just like, man, this is crazy. And then Stephen A. kind of burst onto the scene, and he's becoming like one of those like guys. He's on TV a lot, and he's walking down the aisle, coming to his seat, and somebody yells, "Stephen A!" And he turns around like this cocky motherfucker with like a peace sign up, like, "What's going on?" And the person replies, "You fucking suck." And he had the biggest fucking frown on his face. It was so good because he felt like he was the man. He's like, "Oh, I'm walking through Madison Square Garden. They're screaming my name." Nah, man, they're not. They want you to get out of here.
Well, it's funny because his big beat before he made it nationally was in Philly, and he'll talk about, oh, I could go to like South Philly and get my or wherever and get my hair cut or whatever. It's like, motherfucker, we don't want you here.
Exactly. We don't want you. He's just he went. He had this kind of time period where you're like, man, he's doing things different than a lot of these guys, and that's cool when you start doing something different. But then it's like he was trying too hard, and he was clearly feeling himself. Thought he was like the man, and it just shined through. And he got to be annoying. And then they remember. I mean, how long was he on? I don't know if they still do it when they were on First Take with him and Skip, and they would just argue, you know and it was just like, man, I would watch First Take because they would argue, and I thought that was entertaining. But then it was like, man, this sucks. I hate both of them.
Yeah, he does it with Max Kellerman now.
Oh, Max is a little more likable.
Yeah, Skip moved to FS1. He does it with Shannon Sharp.
Oh yes, they got the bootleg,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but now they have the bootleg First Take, and I don't even know what it's called. Shannon Sharp is a crazy person, also.
Yeah, well, I know why you say that because if you watch it, it's live in his house and he's got all these like I can't believe he has to do this just to screw with people. He has like 5 LeBron jerseys behind his back.
He loves his LeBron and the Cowboys. Can't stand it.
Believe it or not, I was a Bulls fan too growing up. The reason being my Sixers were so fucking terrible in the 90s.
We're rough.
Yeah, and I actually had a Bulls like a jacket you would wear like for the winter, the fall, and
The Star Jacket, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
And
Those were awesome.
then I actually, and people are gonna laugh when I say this, I actually had a Rodman jersey.
No, don't laugh. That's awesome. No laughing. That's fantastic.
And
He's the
and
perfect combination. He was in the NWO. Come on.
yeah, yeah. Well, the reason being is because people are like, well, why did you want a Rodman jersey of all things? I said because I said Rodman was the guy that held everything together. He did all the shit that you didn't necessarily see on the stat sheet and did all the dirty work.
Yep, yep. 100%, man. he was a big component to them, getting the second three-peat. I mean, all those boards, throwing a lot of elbows, playing good defense. You know, it's just one of those things where you got to have the right pieces in order to win. And so many people will be like, because I'll say LeBron isn't in the same sentence as Michael Jordan. I don't even think it's
No.
close. But people will argue with me, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But when I look at LeBron's legacy, it is he got drafted to Cleveland and he couldn't get it done, so he left. I didn't like the way he left. The decision really, really irked me. I thought it was selfish. I thought it was silly to leave teams. I mean, remember how many teams were trying to get cap space in order to get him? He
Yeah.
knew where he was gonna go. Him, Wade, and Bosch were already colluding a year in advance. He knew where he was gonna go. So why string along everybody? And I just thought that was like maybe he wanted that recruiting feeling, like because he never went to college, so he wanted that feeling of being recruited and being the star, out of high school, which he already was, dude. You were playing his basketball games from high school were on pay per view, and then he went straight to the league, like, and was an animal. So I didn't like the decision at all. Then for him to go and team up with, three top tier all stars, it's just like, come on, man. Like, I didn't like when the Celtics did it, and this I thought was even more because it was clearly collusion. They were already moving pieces and money around to get it done, and I didn't like it. And then he wins his rings there, and then comes home and his big old glory and can't get it done, and he's a big old crybaby on the court, and he don't have the rings. He doesn't have. He's not a winner like Mike is, and he's certainly not a leader like Mike was. And I don't know. LeBron's just not even in there. Kobe too for me, and then LeBron.
I was just gonna say that to me, Kobe's the closest thing you will ever get to Jordan.
Yep, exactly. Played very similar. Both hell bent on being a winner. They were obsessed with winning. And I mean, it's so sad what happened to Kobe, and it's just awful. And I know that everybody, in death will remember people really, really in a highly and all positive ways. But Kobe Bryant was a hell of a competitor. He was ruthless and ready to win at all costs. And he was a tough person from all accounts that I've heard to play with. You can ask Shaquille O'Neal, people would say that Kobe was hard to play with because he demanded so much from his team. And that's very, very Jordan esque. And that's why he achieved so much.
I agree with you. The other thing I was going to say is, and this isn't a knock on LeBron. I just think, to me, I think it's a fact, regardless of what anybody else will say.
Mm.
He's mentally weak.
Yeah, 100%. You can see it. He I mean, think about some of these big moments in the finals. A lot of LeBron's big moments in finals are him falling apart. It's not him hitting a game-winning shot because a lot of those game-winning shots, they're not hit by him. They're hit by Ray Allen. They're hit by Kyrie Irving, hit by X, Y, and Z. It wasn't him. He will do tremendous damage in the first three quarters. Great, but he was awful in the fourth quarter. And remember that first Heat series against the Mavericks? He lost them a championship.
Yeah,
Like
remember?
if he wasn't even playing. Put it this way: if Wade and Bosch and they had another decent player, they might have won a championship. He lost the Heat a championship.
I'll never forget it because Terry kicked his ass.
Yep, he really did. He put him to work. Jet crushed him. He couldn't cover him. And I was just like blown away watching this game. Like LeBron is losing the Miami Heat a championship. It just blew my mind. I never in a million years watched a Jordan game and thought, man, they need to take him off the court. Even when he played for the Wizards, I wasn't like, man, take Mike off the court. Never. Sure.
Could you imagine what he would do to LeBron's psyche? He would just eat him up.
Kill him. And don't get me wrong, the physical stature is staggering. Like I said before, 6'6", 215, and then we're talking 6'8", 275, lightning fast. LeBron is, like I mentioned, the potentially most God blessed athlete of all time, and he's unbelievable. I don't think anyone's faster, stronger, can jump higher. I believe all of that, but I think in a 7-game series that Mike would break him.
That's what I think. Like, not so much from a physical standpoint. I think he would really get in his head.
Yep, exactly. I mean, remember what Lance Stevenson did to LeBron?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like that's low level cerebral stuff. I mean, Mike was would kill people. That's why people talk about Michael Jordan. They tried to have John Stockton on this Last Dance, and he said no. He was like, I won't do a fluff piece about Jordan. That's how deep Mike got under these some of these stars' skin, man. It's just like they just can't. It's tough, man. It's a different part of the game that I don't know if it's as prominent now as it was in those 90s.
Yeah, I've just never seen a guy that was could take something, even the smallest thing that he would think would be a slight, and use it to destroy you.
Yeah, it's what he does, man. He was a different breed. That's the best way that I can put it. It's like they don't make him like that anymore. Also, the way that Mike transitioned from a high flyer, you know, being at the rim all the time, dunking on people, dribbling past people, to being one of the best mid-range jump shooters of all time in his, the back end of his career. Seeing him transition like that was so seamless and so smooth that we didn't even realize he went from dunking on people to the fadeaway jump shot in the post. And seeing LeBron struggle with changing lanes in now that he's got some miles on him. I think the best comparison for LeBron is probably Magic Johnson. You
Yep.
know, tall tall, basically plays guard and can see the whole court. He makes the people around him better. He's a great passer, and that's what I would liken LeBron to. He's Magic Johnson esque.
I'll tell you this real quick, and we'll move on. Is a friend of mine. This is how savage Jordan is still, like with his brand and everything.
Yeah.
I can't remember the I think it was a YouTuber or like a Twitch person. They were invited to one of the like Jordan brand parties or whatever. And this guy was recently had like a shoe deal with Adidas or whatever. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And Jordan found out that the guy was on the list and kicked him out.
Hmm. You don't play, man. It's how he is so wildly successful. It just he was about his business. He was about the game of basketball, and now he's in a different avenue, and he's doing the same. You know, I don't like the comparisons with him and LeBron because they're just so different. And when you really start to break it down, you just realize how different they really are. LeBron is, God bless him. He's very much focused on, you know, being a philanthropist and doing all this benefit work and schools he's dealing with, and that's all well and good. But like Jordan can hit a jump shot in the fourth quarter, and you can't.
Hey, there you go, man. Now let's get to some wrestling. What I've always wanted to ask you, when did you start following wrestling? Like, was there a specific moment or thing where you're like, I gotta watch this shit?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I remember I was just flipping through the channels, and I landed on WCW Saturday Night, and I was just like, "What is this?" And I'm pretty sure the first the one that I remember that stands out is it was like Cactus Jack and Vader
Oh
had some
God.
crazy match on Saturday night, and I was just like, "What is going on? These guys are fighting and beating each other up." I was just hooked, man. I was just like, I was like, I gotta find this again, and I started watching WCW Saturday Night, and that's how I got into wrestling.
I was a big Hogan mark.
A lot of people. I mean, for me, I was definitely a fan for a minute, but that's once, like I said, WCW was first for me. Then once I started to find out about WWF, probably through watching Superstars, he wasn't quite at quite the focal point that he was. So I wasn't the biggest Ultimate Warrior guy, but when I first saw Hogan, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. When you put him up against like one of the big bad guys, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, what happened was Mania 5 was in Atlantic City, and
Yeah,
my dad at the time was trying to get tickets, and that was like a big thing. And then I kind of like started from there, and then my first show was SummerSlam at the old Spectrum in Philly, and it was Warrior and Rick Rude in a cage.
awesome.
And I always remember that because I was like 6 or 7 years old, and this was after Hogan had lost the belt, and they gave him time off where Earthquake quote unquote hurt him.
Oh,
Um,
oh, I remember that. Man,
yeah, where
that's
he
I
like
haven't thought about that in a long time.
yeah, where he like squashed him on the Brother Love show.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
man.
well, this is the cool thing. I was like 6 or 7, so I wrote like a get well letter or whatever, and sent it in because it was that's what they told you to do and all that. Well, anyway, um, they sent you like basically a thank you card with a like printed or stamped like Hulk Hogan like signature on it. I still
Really?
have it somewhere.
Honestly, as a kid, like that would be pretty damn cool to me. That somebody saw what I did and acknowledged it. And, whether it be he actually signed it or not, I don't care. That's still pretty cool.
Yeah, and see, I was always a WWF guy first, and a lot of people might not remember this, but they had like a, a fan club or something back in like the early '90s. Well, I still have it somewhere. I have to find it. When it was your birthday, they would send you a birthday card, and every wrestler on the roster signed it.
Wow. That's pretty cool though. Like I said, I don't know. Like I got into WWF. I'm trying to think. The first time I started watching Superstars was when they were leading up, or it was either just after WrestleMania 8, or they were leading up to WrestleMania 8.
Okay.
So that's when I first. But I was already watching WWF for a little while, so I had already seen wrestling. But then I think I popped it on TV, and it was like on before like X-Men the animated series, like before whatever, before all those Saturday morning cartoons. And I was
Y-
like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, this is like this isn't WCW." And then I ended up meeting a friend at school who was into it, and he had a bootleg box, and he would tape all the pay-per-views. So he was getting all the pay-per-views because he had a black box, and he was getting them all for free.
Yeah, the hot
So
box.
yeah, he had the hot box, and he was taping all the shows, and he would watch it, tape it, and then he'd bring the tape to school and give it to me, and I'd watch it, and then I'd give it back. And I was just like, man, this is so fucking cool, man. Like, I didn't realize I understood right away that it was two separate things, but I was just like, oh man, this is cool. I guess I thought of it like sports, like, oh, You got the NFL, the NHL, the MLB. Like these are all separate. They're sports, but they don't. You know, you don't see Deion Sanders. Well, you kind of did. Damn it! I was about to say you don't see Deion Sanders on the baseball field, but you do. You didn't see Ken Griffey Jr. popping up, playing for the Seattle Seahawks. So I kind of thought of it that way.
Yeah, I didn't really get to see a lot of WCW because we didn't get TBS here till like 94
Hmm,
when Hogan was there.
yeah. But yeah, I was watching probably since '91, around that time.
Did you ever fall off?
Yeah, I definitely had that kind of burnout from wrestling. I call it like the wrestling roller coaster. Just like
Yes.
ups and downs, and the age fluctuates. But I watched wrestling pretty religiously until, hmm, I don't know, maybe sometime in high school I stopped because I didn't watch the Ruthless Aggression era at all. I don't I didn't know about Evolution. I didn't know about Brock Lesnar. I didn't watch WrestleMania 20. If I was watching WrestleMania 20, you could believe I would have been there. It's so close. It's a 30-minute train ride from my house. Like I would have been there. So I wasn't in it like that. So I didn't watch any of that. And then I got big into mixed martial arts and watching that stuff. So I was watching UFC, I was watching Pride, I was watching anything I could get a DVD of or anything. I was watching The Ultimate Fighter on Spike. And then after the finale, they played the premiere episode of Impact Wrestling on Spike. And I was like, holy shit, what's this? And it was like AJ Styles and Chris Sabin and maybe Christopher Daniels. I don't know. Maybe Peter Williams. One of the Ultimate X matches, and I was just blown away. And I was like, "Holy shit! I love pro wrestling again." I was probably in 2005 because my first Ring of Honor independent show, which my first independent show ever, was February 2006, which was CM Punk's very last Ring of Honor show.
Hey, that's a good show to
Yeah,
check
good start.
out. The first one.
Yeah, absolutely. Good start.
I'm trying to think. It was 2008 ish, and I didn't watch probably for about 5 or 6 years. I think like 2014. I think I
Uh-huh.
started back again, like whenever the Wyatt family debuted.
Okay. I was watching during that time. I come and go kind of with WWE. Like right now, I'm not watching very much of it.
Nope.
It's just it's hard, and I come and go. Usually, the Royal Rumble is my jump in point because I'm just such a big fan of the Royal Rumble. Like it's so fun. It was always a staple, like the one show that like I could actually get my mom to buy because I'm like, it's the Royal Rumble. And like I'll jokingly say it now, and she'd be like, that's still a big deal." I'm like, "Yeah, it's still a big deal. There's two of them now, two matches." But that's usually my entry point, and then get to WrestleMania. But this time around, it was definitely a rough go of it. But it is what it is. I'm never the type to just be like, I'm done with that. Never again. I'll always pop in. I'll always check it out. Especially with social media, you can always pretty much see what's going on. I can tell you almost what's going on just by watching, social media.
Hey, you
But
can tell whether it's good or bad or whatever.
it sounds like it's pretty rough right now. But yeah, man, Royal Rumble will forever be my jump in point.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I love the Rumble. I haven't watched. God, I think I watched the pay per view that I was, just from like bits and pieces of what I wanted to see. Otherwise, I haven't
Yeah,
really
I watched
watched
Mania.
in weeks.
Yeah, I watched Mania. That was it. Hit or miss, mostly miss. But there was some cool stuff. Boneyard match was really cool. Firefly Funhouse was really cool. I like the creativity of it all. Um, Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins was fun. You know, me being a Ring of Honor guy, it was cool to see them have a big match like that. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte was fun. I did not like Edge versus Orton. I thought it was too long and just too much. Hopefully they can redeem themselves. I heard they're doing something else.
The
Another big.
best wrestling match ever. That's what they're calling it.
Oh, I thought you were asking me a question. I was like, shit, what is the best wrestling match ever? But that's really what they're calling it, man. That's a
That's what I had saw. Like, I haven't been watching, but I saw like this
yeah,
graphic, and it said best wrestling match ever, or so. I was like, what the hell is this?
yeah. Talk
And
about
no
so fresh.
disrespect to those guys, I just find them boring.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The talking that they're doing, I've seen promos and
Oh,
stuff.
fantastic.
Great. The build is fantastic. I just don't think it's a combination of two. Randy isn't the best in ring performer. He's not a technician. Edge has a lot of ring rust on him, and you're kind of meeting in the middle with mediocre because of it. You know, if Edge was in there with somebody like Daniel Bryan, I think we might see a little bit different because American Dragon can carry you. You know, he's one of the best to ever step in the ring technically, and it's just he's amazing. So linking up these two guys who, yeah, they cut great promos and yeah, you know, they have history, but when it gets down to business, it's just like fuck, and they can't bring it.
You're right, dude. I honestly watch more of AEW because there's people you and I both know that are on that show.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's the draw for me to watch AEW. I'm not a Cody guy. I'm not really a Bucks guy, although I've been watching them for a very, very long time. They've always been around, but a lot of people that I consider, you know, my friends wrestled there. Janela, who is somebody that I became friendly with over the last few years. Santana and Ortiz, friends of mine, and it's a couple others, and it's just like it's so cool to see people on there thriving and doing well. And it's awesome to see them use a different mix of talent and stuff like that. It's I just want more wrestling in the mainstream. I want more of my friends and more talent getting more money on a bigger stage and to see people all do well and put out great wrestling.
I was thrilled because I don't know if you watched Dark this week. There was a couple guys that I know that work this area that were on there.
I didn't watch who was on there.
Serpentico.
Yes, he's so good. He's so good.
It's he wrestled Darby.
Oh, that's a great matchup. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I was really excited for that. Another lesser known guy that I know, which we'll talk about this stuff later, is from Dojo Wars, is Clutch Adams was on there.
Really? That's awesome. That's a great opportunity for him. Nice.
He was a fun heel because we would always fuck with him and he'd go along. But he's a really nice guy.
That's great. It's always good to see people that you connect with and that you've seen at a not a lesser level, but maybe a not as big platform do well and get a shot on a stage like that and to be on national TV and work with a huge company like that. It's always awesome to see. I mean, I'll never get bored of seeing Joey Janela wrestle on national television. I'll never get bored of seeing Mike and Angel, Santana and Ortiz. I'll never get bored.
I'm the same way where it's like because I was going to Dojo Wars for a while, and I'm like, I was thinking about it the other day. I said, God damn, all the people I've seen from there that have taken it up a level. Like I saw Leo there and Joey there, and Velveteen Dream was there at one point, and Penelope, and Ace Austin. The list goes on and on and on.
Yep. It's
And
cool to see people that you connect with skyrocket. It's fun, man, and that's what will always bring me back to WWE is because I watched, Kevin Owens wrestle in a small gym for Ring of Honor. I watched Seth Rollins as Tyler Black. I watched a lot of these guys, Roderick Strong, Bobby Fish, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, all these guys. I watched them achieve on a smaller platform, and now to see them do such great things, it's hard to break that connection. You want to see those your guys. That's why I'll be like, oh, those are my guys.
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. He's no longer with us, but my buddy Lyle, that was a photographer for CZW, we always used to laugh. He said, I don't normally like watching WWE. He's like, but I guess I got to because I know so many goddamn people that work there now.
It's true, man. True, absolutely, and that'll keep me forever connected as long as my guys are there doing something. I'll always check in on it.
Absolutely. Now, here's another one was what started you doing the podcast? Like how did that come about?
Well, um, so randomly, I mean, I had just gotten married in 2015. In 2015, and I was just going through stuff in my mom's house, and I just had looked in the basement, and there's this shit ton of wrestling DVDs, pretty much every ROH DVD from '05 to 2012,
Holy
every
shit.
show. So it was a lot. It was like 300, 400 something ROH, and then a bunch of, you know, you remember all the WCW, all the WWF DVDs, like when they would come out with the documentaries, like
Yeah.
the Chris Jericho special, the all the stuff that they just put on the network now. You used to have to go and buy in a store. It's
Imagine
crazy.
that, kids.
I know it's so crazy. You actually had to physically go get something. Um, so um, there's so many of them, and my Instagram when I first started it's because I never wanted one. My sister would always tell me, "Oh, you got to get an Instagram. It's fun." Da da da. I was like, "Nah." So actually, one year for her birthday, I made an Instagram and I named it The Struggles. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take pictures of people, you know, in a funny manner, and I'm gonna document the struggles. I'm gonna document like if somebody's like you go out to dinner and you see some weirdo, in some strange, crazy outfit, I'll take a picture and post it on my page. So that's where it all started. I was like, oh, documenting the struggles because somebody has to. So that's where it all started. And I would post, video games. I'm big into retro video games and stuff. I would post sneakers and because I'm big into sneakers. And all of a sudden, I was like, I found all these DVDs. I follow a bunch of like wrestling people, so maybe I'll post them and get rid of some of these. What am I gonna do with fucking 600 DVDs? So I put them all in like some sort of order, took pictures, started posting them, and these things started flying. I was like, what? People are buying 5, 6, 10, all this stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, man! Like I'm selling a ton of these. Like right now, I'm looking at what I have left, and it's probably like 50, you know, 50 left after all this. So I started to make connections in this. I was doing giveaways and stuff like that, doing trivia stuff, just trying to make it fun, but keep people buying because there's only so many times you can post, "Hey, buy my shit," or somebody unfollows you because that's all you do talk about is, "Hey, buy my shit."
Yeah.
You know. So I was trying to make it interactive, trying to make it fun, and I was having a good time with it. Then a couple guys who bought from me, they were like, "Hey, we have a podcast. I know you obviously know a lot about wrestling. You want to come on and just talk about wrestling?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. How do we do this?" Like, we just use Skype. I was like, "Okay." So I used to make music years prior. So I had a microphone, I had like an interface and all this stuff, and I know about audio recording and all this type of stuff. So I was like, I wonder if like instead of using like my Apple headset comes with your iPhone, what if I hook this mic up? I wonder if that'll work. And I like YouTubed it, figured it out, and it worked. I was like, holy shit! I did it. They were like, man, you sounded so fucking good. How'd you do that? And I explained. He was like, oh, that's crazy. So I ended up being a guest on that show a couple more times. I was like, you know what? I can do this way better than they can. And like, and that's just like no bullshit. Like they're young kids, and I have a better grasp on how to produce something. You know, some people just don't understand some of the things. So I was like, man, I can do this way better than them. Well, but I don't want to be like everybody has a review show, everybody has a this or that, and I was like, I want to figure something different. So originally, the premise of the Spotlight series was I wanted to interview people in the community, in the internet wrestling community, and talk about what your first encounter with pro wrestling was, what made you such a big fan, and to talk about the steps to now becoming, you know, either a pretty big presence on Instagram or building a following. Like, what makes you so passionate that you have a pro wrestling page and you post 3 and 4 times and post about wrestling, and what is that? Like, why? And I thought that was different. And then next thing you know, it was just like people were like, you should get wrestlers on. And I was like, I kind of just thought to myself, like, they'll just say no. You know, it's just like they'll just say no. But I asked a lot of people, and the first person who said yes was John Silver, and he lives very close to me. And I just made the pitch of, hey, I'm from Long Island, you're from Long Island. I would love to have the first pro wrestler on my show, which is new. It's not out here doing a million plays, but I would love the first guest to be somebody who's from my area. And he was like, absolutely. And like a day later, we did it, and that was episode 10, I think. I think it was 10. And then it was just off to the races from there. I just put out episode 182 today,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. I lose count. I know I'm almost to 200. But we'll get there.
You gonna do something special for 200?
um, there was a plan. There was certainly a plan. There was always a plan. There was a plan for 100. Um, and funny story. 100 was Amazing Red, and he was recorded and done once before it. It was done. I went to the House of Glory Dojo and recorded in person with him. It was like only the second time I had ever done an in person interview. The first one being Giancarlo. He came to my house, which that's my guy. Love him to death. And he was like, I'm coming to your house to do it. I was like, sure. So he came to my house, and
Great
so
dude, man.
he's the best. He's the best. Everything that he has right now, he earned. He's one of the visionaries in the world of professional wrestling. I'm incredibly proud of him and thankful for the help that he basically booked the Spotlight series for a while. He would just be like, "Who do you want? I'll tell him. I'll tell him to be on. I'll tell him." And I would just give him like a list, and he would be like, "Shoot it, send him a DM, send him a DM, message him, message him." I he gave me the confidence to do it, man, and he was the first person I interviewed in person, and then Red was the second, and it was so hard to piece together everything to get to 100. Everybody thought that I was struggling to get to 100, but it was already done. 100 was done. It was the 10 episodes leading up to
Yeah, I
100
got you.
that were the worst. It was so hard, but when I look at it now, I'm just like, man, it was worth it. It was difficult. I had to basically be like, dude, please, will you just do this? I can't miss a week this time. This is not the time to miss a week. You know, I can't. And I made it happen. I got it done. And when I think of 200, there's a plan. Not it's sure as shit not recorded. This is not an Amazing Red situation. It's not recorded. It is a dream scenario. But if it were to happen, I would be thrilled. But I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, hey, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Anything that's meant to be will be. And if 200 comes around and I don't have this plan coming to light, then I'm just gonna have people call into the show, like listeners. You call in and talk to me for 10 minutes, and then have another person call in, like a hotline show, which is a bunch of people who listen to the show and just talk. Everybody gets like 10, 15 minutes. You guys can ask me questions, and that'll be 200 unless the grand plan happens. Then I'll be fucking hero.
Yeah, then because that reminds me of the one you did when Pat from the Bullies called in.
Yes, yes, it would be very similar to that. So that's plan B.
Not to sidetrack you, but I want to turn back around real quick about Giancarlo. The last time I saw him,
Hmm.
I want to say was at the last GCW show in Atlantic City. Well, anyway, I went up to him, and you'll chuckle because it's true. What I'm about to tell you, I said, dude, I said, when I'm watching WWE, I know when it's your shit that's on there.
Yeah, it's true though.
And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, trust me, I know it's yours because it's so different than anybody else.
It is, man, and I think that he has a certain style, and obviously we all watched a lot of it. Whether if you were a fan of CZW and GCW, we saw his come up in a big way from that first Janela, VHS promo to all the stuff that he did leading up to Lost in New York, which basically his last show that he ever did stuff for, to my knowledge. And although all that stuff that he put together, we knew the look, we knew the style. So when we see it on a big stage, we can point it out. And I love that his uniqueness has opened up the door for other people to be unique in WWE. Like people like ask him all the time, like, did you have anything to do with the Boneyard? And he didn't. Did he have anything to do with the Firefly? He didn't. But that's just showing like he opened the door for other unique creators to come in and do cool stuff there.
Absolutely. My personal favorite one that he did on the Indies is the Tremont Onita hype video.
Oh my god. All right, here's a funny story. So me and GC are close. They're one of my best friends. And he would always pick my brain and I'd pick his, and we'd send each other stuff that we're working on back and forth. I remember it like it was absolutely yesterday. He messaged me. I was homesick and I was like dying in bed. Sent me a message and he was like, "Watch this and let me know what you think." I said, "Okay." And I was like, "I'm about to watch it now." He was like, "Honestly, tell me what you think. If it's bad, it's bad. However you react, let me know." All right. I watch it. It's the Onita Tremont video. And I watch it and I just say to him, I was like, I don't know if it's because I'm super sick right now, but I'm crying watching this right now. It's so fucking emotional and amazing what you put together. Because I knew what Matt was going through during that time. Matt was in the hospital for a long time, about almost 2 weeks.
Yep.
And he had a bad infection. It was almost not going to happen. I knew how much Onita coming here meant to a lot of people. I know how much it meant to Matt. I know how much it meant to GC. I know how much it meant to all of us as fans. And he put it all together in this perfect package that's, 90 seconds. And he was like, I said, "You're going to make grown men cry in the crowd when you play this." And he was like, no, no way, no way. And I was there at that show, and there were teary-eyed, grown-ass men, Flyers Gate Zone. I was there.
It's funny you say that because I had saw him. I think it was the Dojo Wars before the big show, and I'm going on my Twitter, and he DM'd me randomly, and he goes, "Watch this for me." He said, "My goal is," and he must have took it from you because he said, "My goal is to try to make grown men cry. Do you think I did that?" or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is fucking amazing. And yes, you're going to make grown men cry.
He sent me the song before he even made the video, and I was like, this isn't gonna work. This isn't a pro wrestling vignette song. Man, was I fucking wrong. Big wrong. Big time.
Hey, sometimes it's okay to be wrong.
Absolutely, 100%.
Now, some other stuff I wanted to talk about. How did you've been doing the Spotlight series? How did it lead to you doing commentary for IWC New York?
No clue. I have no clue how it now. I started to do the show, and it started to pick up traction, and I really don't know. Luckily, my first ever experience doing commentary was at a John Carlo show. He threw this kind of one-off boutique small crowd
Yep.
show at called Blind Pig, which was at I guess where the dojo was at CCW,
Yes,
right? So
the old dojo in Blackwood.
yep. So that was my first time doing commentary. He believed in me, and I was like, sure. He's like, you and Emma will call it. I was like, I've never done this before. He was like, just talk like you talk. You know wrestling. Just do that. So I was like, all right. So me and Emil did it. I don't think I did that great. I wish I would have. I wish I could redo it. I don't think I was trash. I just didn't project. I didn't speak quite as enough and as confidently as I normally would because I was just nervous. So that was my first experience. The second time that I ever did commentary on a show was at a little show called Spring Break 2.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, so my second ever experience doing commentary was at Joey Janela's Spring Break 2 in New Orleans. I got to call one match, which was the GCW heavyweight title match between Nick Gage and Pentagon Jr. And I called that match with Drew Cordero, which, funny enough, is now my commentator at ICW now, doing the no holds barred stuff. So funny how that worked out. But I was super nervous and I had like a mental breakdown. But once again, GC got me in there, and that I didn't really tell anybody. So my phone was like levitating off the ground after when people realized it was me, and it was awesome, and it felt great. And I don't remember, it was probably, man, I've been calling ICW shows since December 2018. And Danny D'Amonto messaged me out of nowhere and was just like, hey, you want to do commentary? And he had met me a couple times, and he asked, he was like, I heard the show, da da da, you gotta, sound good, know what you're talking about. What do you think about doing it? You'll be calling matches with Scotty Cerriti. And I wasn't quite familiar with Scotty, but I made myself familiar. He was doing at the time Pro Wrestling Magic and a couple other places. So I got myself familiar. Me and Scott spoke on Instagram a little bit just to get a feel for one another. My first show, I got to call some pretty crazy matches, and the main event was Danny D'Amonto against Amazing Red, and I
Holy
was
cow.
felt out of my fucking league. But I figured it out. I figured out like what works for me. I'm definitely not a color commentator. I'm a play-by-play, meaning that I will call the moves, and know the technical stuff and have the person next to me talk about the pain on his or her face, or talk about the storyline, or talk about their accolades and stuff like that. And I just want to focus on calling it like it's a sport, because I grew up watching so much in sports, and I just have that in my head. I used to go to sleep listening to Monday Night Football, and I would listen to so many sports on a radio as a kid that it just sticks in my head. Like, I need to paint a picture of the technical aspects of what's going on, that somebody could close their eyes and still understand what's going on and treat it like a sport. And it took a while to get there. It took a while to figure it out. I'm still not where I need to be. I have so much more room to grow, but I appreciate Monto and Jack for giving me a chance to learn, because they easily could have been like, yo, he's trash after the first show or two. Get him out of here. But they stuck with me, getting to call No Holds Barred in front of a sold out crowd at the White Eagle Hall, standing room only, the biggest crowd for a wrestling event at White Eagle Hall ever. And we were turning away people, and to get to call that front to back. I mean, I haven't not called. I called every match for ICW since December 2018. Nobody's ever, like, how people do switch in and out.
Mm-hmm.
This person comes in, this person comes out. You're gonna do this match and you're gonna do that match. I don't come off. That's my booth. It's my company, and I'm excited to keep it that way.
That's awesome, man. I actually have a commentating story for. I've never actually told this story publicly before.
Let's hear it.
It's funny. Part of it's funny now after what happened. Cause I had DM'd you about possibly like trying to do excuse me, commentary stuff a while back. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
long story short, there was and I'm sure you saw it online, there was a company that I'm not going to name had a tryout for wrestlers, commentators, ring announcers, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And it was an all day deal. So I went and and the person that ran it, they said, well, you gotta, and it was I'll never forget it. There was this huge line of all the talent and everything. They're like, well, you gotta get in the line and like introduce yourself and talk about yourself a little bit and why you're here. The standard
Yeah.
BS,
Get it.
and get in the middle of the ring. Well,
Huh.
that was an adventure for me because I'm socially awkward at times with like things.
Yeah. I would have been having a panic attack,
Oh,
man.
I was like nervous as fuck. But anyway, it gets better. So, and I think this was the one when Pat Buck was there. So, talk about being even more nervous. Anyway,
Right. I get you.
I awkwardly get in the ring because what the fuck, I don't ever get in a ring. And say my spiel and all this stuff. I can laugh about this now. I go to get out, and I think I have enough room to like jump down. When I do, I jump and like awkwardly like fucking twist my ankle and bash my ankle into the floor.
Oh,
Which the funny story about this is it later turned into like cellulitis like 2 weeks later. But afterwards, I got to sit down and do commentary with David Adams. I don't know if you're familiar with David.
yeah. Yeah.
And there was another guy that was trying out too. Anyway, had a great time doing it. We did really well because I actually had the boys, guys and girls, come up to me afterwards and were like, I just want you to know we really, because they all watched everybody's matches and you know how they do. and
Yeah.
they were like, "Hey, we want you to know that like we really enjoyed the dynamic that you guys had together. It was like really funny and blah blah blah." But unfortunately, nothing came of it because I'm assuming politics.
Yeah, it happens, man. It's crazy. It's just one of those things where, in the world of pro wrestling, you have to understand that you gotta somebody in a place of power needs to like you, and like, did I deserve to be on spring break too? No. Like, why would I? I had called literally one show ever. I think there was 6 matches on Line Pig. 6 matches. And then I get to be on one of the biggest indie shows ever. There was like 3,000 people there. Not to mention how many people were watching. Why would I get to do that? Because Giancarlo thought that I would do well. So there I was doing it. And that later turned into, you know, Danny giving me a chance, and I earned that shit. It wasn't easy. And here we are, all these, a year and change later, and a bunch of shows, and ICW coming into a whole new generation now with the transition to No Holds Barred, and it's my company now, man. I am a part of the creative. I'm the voice of the product, and it took a while. And I'll say to anybody who is a wants to get into commentary, it's hard, man. It's not easy. You got to just go to shows and say hello to people. And having a podcast definitely helps because it's something that you can say, hey, check this out. And you can hear my voice and hear how I talk and hear how I interact with people and hear how I tell stories. And you can get a grasp on, hey, man, this guy can talk, or hey, this guy's a great interviewer, or hey, that was a good story. Hey, he sounds good. That's another big thing that goes a long way is, do you sound like you know what you're doing? And commentary is a art that I feel has been diminished a bit. You'll see a lot of people who don't know what they're doing get on there and try and tell jokes and try and make pop culture references. That's all well and good, but keep them limited. I don't want the people in the ring who are busting their ass and putting it all on the line for our entertainment to be embarrassed by the words that I'm saying. I don't want people to have to mute the fucking commentary because I'm ruining the show. So I call it like a sport, and I want the people who are performing to be proud of the finished product.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, dude. Now, all this has led to you being over at IWTV. How'd you get there?
Man, that was is basically when I call a show at ICW New York, I sit directly next to Jerry, who runs IWTV. So I sit next to him the whole entire show, and we talk. And he's a great guy. A lot of people don't realize that he used to wrestle as Vin Gerard and Equinox in Chikara, and now he is retired. But he started up IWTV, which formerly Powerbomb TV, but then they transitioned over to this new name not too, a little while ago. So I sit next to him every show, and we get to talking, of course. And he listened to the podcast a little bit. He sees kind of the following that I was able to grow, and then he basically was like, "Hey, do you want to run the Instagram account?" And I was just like, "Well, yeah, sure." You talked on the phone and figured out what would work best, and so that's how that started. I was just basically doing the content control and posting for the Instagram for IWTV, which I still do. And then it led to him discovering that obviously the podcast does well, and him finding out that I have a design company where we design T-shirts and posters and whatever graphic design needs. So we've designed a bunch of shirts for IWTV, and then he's realized that I do video editing and stuff like that. So he's just over time. I can't even think of when I started there, but it hasn't been a year yet, I don't think. So he just realized that there's more to me than just being good at social media, and he's the type of person that when he discovers skills from people, he wants to give them a shot to do more. So over this time period, he's keeps giving me chances to do different things and cool things here and there, and it's a great place to work, and I'm excited to keep doing it, man. It's the best independent wrestling has to offer. You look at all the companies that work with them now; they're getting GCW over there now. Freedoms from Japan is coming. Obviously, ICW No Holds Barred is there, and some of the best. It's over 6,000 hours of independent wrestling at your fingertips. It's crazy. Like I can't even wrap my head around
So you're telling me I have to send you my resume?
that. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
And no, I mean, like I said before, it's all about in wrestling, like who do you know and who were you nice. I could have easily sat next to Jerry and not realized that he mattered and been a dick or been whatever, and I never would have got a shot there. I didn't know that he basically runs the whole deal. Who knew? I didn't know, and it just turned into something more. I liken it to it. If you put good into the world, then good comes back. If you're nice to people and you're a genuine human being, then good things will happen.
Couldn't agree more with you, dude. Um, I want to actually go through some questions that fans had left for you on my Twitter.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I read some of them. Some of them are fun. So yeah, some of them are fun. Some of them are sure. Let's do it.
Kind of oof.
Yeah, kind of oof, definitely.
All right. At Hero Mieto 99 wants to know what wrestlers have you met that have surprised you with how kind that they were?
Schlack, easy, easy money. Schlack, such a nice guy. Amazing. It's what is it with the deathmatch guys that they're so fucking nice? It's just insane to me. Schlack, G Raver, Homicide, one of the best. Um, Nick Gage, Alex Cologne. Like I really could go on, and they're all guys who do rough shit. Casanova Valentine, such a good dude.
Love
You
Cash.
that, yeah, exactly. Something about the deathmatch guys that they're just so cool. But I will say somebody who definitely is clearly on the come up. He's on television. That I met him and was intimidated, but he was such a nice guy. And then a long time after, when I saw him again, he remembered me. Um, is Killer Cross. Now he's on NXT, Carrying Cross, I believe. I don't know
Yes.
called. But I had him on the show very early on. I think like episode I can't even remember in the '60s maybe. So like a year and change over 2 years ago maybe. And he was awesome. I had met him at a show when he flew out, and he was so nice. And then we had him back at ICW twice a year or two later, and he remembered me. He was great. Just such a down to earth, great dude who can, you know, kill you if you wanted.
I actually to answer this one, here's one. It's he's not on television now, but he was, and he was in WWE at one point, which I don't want to say he surprised me, but it's maybe more so he surprised me how like super nice, like over the top nice he was. It's Paul London.
Really? That's interesting.
Like when I used to help out, God, it's been probably 2 years ago or more. Would do some interviews at Pro Wrestling Magic and video matches like Hokai or however you say it does, take clips of matches.
Yep.
And I went to go introduce myself to him, and I'm on like one side of the ring, like to walk around, and before I can go over to introduce myself, he like ran over at like 100 miles an hour and like bear hugged me. And he's like, "Hey, I saw you coming over to say hello, buddy." And I'm like, "What the hell?"
right? When people are nice like that, especially somebody who's a pretty big deal, you know.
Yeah,
Let's be real. Poland is a pretty big deal. You just kind of expect them to not be as friendly, and that just I don't know, man. It's like a defense mechanism as a fan, where when you see this person, you're like, oh, don't let me get my hopes up. He's probably met a billion people in his fucking life, and he doesn't want to be bothered, stuff like that. And but man, I love Paul London. I tried to get him on the show, and we just weren't able to get it situated. But maybe that'll be episode 200. Paul London.
yeah, there you go. He's a great dude. I asked him if he would do a couple quick questions. He was like, "Yeah." And the thing I loved, he literally stayed there and took every picture and signed every autograph before he left.
That's so awesome, man. Love people like
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, next we have at underscore special Sasuke underscore. Which rapper would do the best in battle rap?
that. Okay, this is my friend Jack. Me and him love battle rap. I'm a big fan, and he's always coming to shows with me and stuff like that. And he we both enjoy it very much. What was the question? What
Hold on, it's a multi. I'll do it this way. It's a multi
of
question.
of course it is. Can't be just one.
It's
Let's go with the first one. What was it again?
which rapper would do best in battle
Ah, huh, 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 huh,
rap?
huh. What what wrestler would do best in battle rap? Homicide. There you go. Because he'd scare everyone. He's a gangster, for real gangster,
Oh
and that whole
no, bro, he said rapper, not wrestler.
he wants to know what rapper would do best in battle. Come on, man, this is a wrestling show. Jeez. What rapper would do best in battle rap? Uh, Eminem. Sure. There you go.
All
Eight
right.
Mile, 8 Mile, brother. That's a terrible answer, but that's all I got for him.
All right. Next one from him is which, and he puts it in quotation marks, sports great would do best in battle rap.
What? What is man? Deion Sanders.
There you go.
Yeah.
And here's an easier one for you. What makes Conor McGregor the worst?
Oh, everything. What do you mean? What makes him? He's terrible. He's a dude. He is a pro wrestler in an MMA body. He's just an asshole, man. I mean, he needs to understand that you can't just disrespect people and not expect to get beat up. Like
I was never so happy when Khabib beat the snot out of him.
he manhandled him, like sheer domination. And the thing is that I remember when, and I hate to even put him in this grouping, but I remember seeing the rise of Mike Tyson, seeing the rise of Roy Jones, seeing Anderson Silva. I'm thinking about dominant people in combat sports. I remember seeing these people and just being like, who can beat them? I watch Conor McGregor and I know exactly how people can beat him. Take him down on the ground and you will eventually beat him. But I hate it that he just somehow lands that shot and just will knock somebody out. And that's all it is with him. And that's why they fed him Cowboy Cerrone, because they know Cowboy is not going to take him down. He's going to stand and throw. And here we are. They'll never give him another. You think him and Khabib will ever fight again? No way. What? I mean, the money would have to be astronomical. But do you think he could beat him? No.
He's
I mean, come on.
he just disrespected the dude, and the dude teed off on his face.
Yeah, exactly. He destroyed him. And that's what happens. Like, I don't think Connor understands. It's not pro wrestling. You can't run your mouth and cut promos and throw what was it, a hand truck through his tour bus window. Like, you can't do that shit and not get beat up for real and not have people be upset for real. If he was in the world of wrestling, those segments are are awesome. You know, remember Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through a glass barbershop window. That was awesome, but it was a storyline. And they wrestled and it had payoff, but nobody actually for real got hurt. Like, he's acting that way. Like, after it's over, they should shake hands and be like, "Oh man, we really got a lot of buzz and a lot of eyes watching us." Nah, Khabib was pissed. I don't know. He's a clown. Next question. Fuck him.
Here's a fun one. At Way of the Lariat. Not real. This is a two-parter as well. Not really a question, but tell some DJ Hyde stories in light of everyone finding out what a piece of shit he is.
Oh my god, this has been crazy. To see all the stories about DJ come out. I will tell one story because I don't think that he deserves any time more than he's had. You know, everybody's talking about him. Everybody's telling stories. We're still talking about him. It's an old wrestling. Well, whether they're talking good about me or bad about me, they're still talking about me. So I don't want to give him any more time than he really deserves. Funny story though, and I'm not gonna even give any background. I'm just gonna tell it, and you guys will be like, "What the fuck?" I was in a car with DJ Hyde. A person who was signed to Ring of Honor was in the front seat. I believe he's a Ring of Honor. Never mind. He holds a belt there, I think. And then the back seat with somebody who holds a title in CZW now. We're going to get food. DJ's run his mouth telling us about all the stuff he has planned. This was right before the NWA belt came and got defended in CZW. Talking and talking, talking. He's like, "I got the best matchup for the NWA World Heavyweight title. You would never guess who it is. Tim Storm against." We're all trying to guess, like, "Oh, this person, that person, this person." Just guessing logical human beings. I think I said Brian Cage, which is a logical choice. He's not signed anywhere. He wasn't at the time. He had wrestled. He probably had that NWA belt prior. I was like, that makes sense to me. He keeps saying, "No, bigger, bigger, household name, one of the best to ever do it. The only thing this man hasn't achieved is win the NWA World's title. The last check on his list." And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is impossible that the booker of CZW is telling me household name." Like, and I'm just thinking logical, man. I'm like, man, who could it be? This dude says Hulk Hogan. Like, what? If you would have seen the face of all our faces when he said that, we all, I think, in unison, it was like a harmony of all of us saying
What the fuck?
exactly at the same exact time, "What the fuck?" Because yeah, sure, Hulk Hogan's coming to CZW, brother. You
Right in the middle of the ring, dude.
exactly. And if that doesn't sum up how full of shit DJ Hyde is, then I have more, but I'd rather not because he doesn't deserve it, man.
I'll tell one quick
Go.
one. It's a funny one that happened to me. Some will probably remember. There was a bar right down the street from the old dojo in Blackwood. I think it was called Bar None. They usually had that's where wrestlers congregated after dojo wars, or they had after parties there after one of the super shows. Well, I don't want to name this person, but I was trying to get their attention to tell them uh, it was some, exciting news. I don't remember exactly what the news is. This is how long it's been. but I'm like, hey, I have some good news. It was about me that I had to tell this person because I hadn't seen him in forever. And DJ, I think, is probably 3 or 4 bar stools down, and he hears what I'm saying, and he goes in a voice so loud that the entire bar can hear what he says. Do you want to fuck him? Is that what you want to tell him? And I looked at him and I started laughing and I said, "Well, you shut the fuck up." I said, I'm trying to work my way in. He's got shiny hair." And he looks at me and he puts his head down and he starts laughing and he goes, I got nothing else."
You know, weird guy. That is the best way that I can sum him up. What a weird guy he is. That's about it. Seeing all these stories online, I am not shocked by any of them. It's just he's a weird, really weird creep, and it sucks, man. Like I said, don't want to give him any more airtime than we possibly have to. But yeah, I think you guys can understand. Google, go down Twitter and search up DJ Hyde and have a ball. Crazy.
I was going to say, even do it on Twitter, you might have a field day of stuff to read.
A lot. It's a lot.
Oh, man. Now, before we wrap up, how can people get a hold of you on social media, Ryan?
Well, it's pretty simple. You can follow me on Instagram at the struggles. I'm also on Twitter at the struggles 23. The podcast is spotlightseries.live. It's also on your basic platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, all that stuff. Search it up there. I also have shirts and stuff that I put out, and that's on thestrugglesinc.com. I'm actually going to be putting out a new shirt very, very soon. And I have my Everyday Struggles shirt that I put out, which all the proceeds from this month, Mental Health Awareness Month, will be donated to the National Alliance for Mental Health Awareness.
That's awesome. I actually have the it's the God, I'm drawing a blank because I just wore it the other day. The the black on black one.
Yes, the Blackheart, the Tommaso Ciampa
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I was literally drawing a blank. Yes, the black. I love that shirt.
So do I. I just wanted to do something so different that funny story about that shirt before I take up time, but it's funny. So I had ordered the shirts, and I do the pre-order deal. A bunch of people ordered them. Obviously, if you're making a Blackheart shirt, it's gonna fly because he was at the peak of his popularity. So they sold great. I was super excited, and I had told my printer black on black, and he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes, this is the look I'm going for." And I get the shirts, open up the box, super excited, and it's a black shirt and gray. And I'm like, this is fucking gray. It looked like the Raiders. And I'm just like, this is gray. I get on the phone, call my printer. I'm like, this is gray. And I thought I told you black on black. He's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have seen it. And I'm just like, that's the point.
Oh my god.
And he's just like, I thought that you would want to see it. I was like, I wanted it so it's super subtle that when the light hits it, you can see it, and it's kind of like if you know, you know. It's a bootleg WWE shirt. It kind of looks like just a plain black T-shirt, but it's not. It's like a fly under the radar kind of thing, and it's just I was trying to do something a little different, and I ended up kind of losing my shit on him and just yelling at him because I wanted them before Takeover Brooklyn because I wanted everybody to have them in hand. I wanted to bring some with me. I brought like 15 with me to take over Brooklyn and sold them all in the fucking parking lot.
Nice.
Like it was it was a big deal to get them, and it was like 4 days away. I lost my mind on them, and then he was like, "I'm gonna reprint them all, and I'll send them to you, and you'll have them in time." And I ended up getting them done in time and shipped out, and everybody had them, and I sold them in the parking lot, and it was pretty fucking crazy. And in my basement, I still have a box full of black and gray black heart shirts that I give away every once in a while. And like if somebody who I know who always buys shirts from me, I'll throw one in because what am I gonna do with them? So maybe eventually I'll put them up for like $5 and people buy them. But it's a black and it's like I said, Raiders colors, like black and a silver.
Hey, maybe you can get Raiders fans to buy them.
Maybe not. They're awful.